Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Matt.
Welcome to Roleplay Chat.
We're two game masters who just can't stop talking about role-playing games.
And today we talk about player engagement and how we can improve it in our games.
It's a really fun conversation. This is kind of the condensed version of our long video. We'll link that up here. But like Chris said, we're taking a player's perspective here to improve our roleplay with a bunch of tips, tricks, and things for you to consider. Let's get right into it.
12 tips.
12 tips.
Yeah, got it. We're in sync.
Start us off, Chris. What's our first category of
Well,
tips?
first, Matt, actually, we should talk about boundaries.
You know what? Good call. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, so today we talk about engagement and enhancing mostly the role play. But some people don't want to role play more. So that's a discussion you need to have at the table. It's okay to have a couple of players that really want to role play and the other ones are okay being like spectators. It's a discussion you must have. But on top of just wanting to role play, the boundaries is really important in terms of subject.
Absolutely. So, sometimes there's certain subject matter that some people might not want to have at their table. They're here to have fun and relax, and some things might cause them stress, might be something they don't want to touch. I don't want this in my game. That's not something I want. So it's good to have a conversation, a session 0 maybe, just talking about the things you as a game master or your game master as a player or whatever will be having in their game, and get the permission of the players and everybody at the table to go into certain subject matter.
Yeah, so everything we're going to say is with this asterisk of...
This caveat, make sure you have that conversation first. All right, I was eager before. I'm still eager now. Let's get right into our 12 tricks.
All right, so we created some categories here. The first 3 will be about reacting and not necessarily acting. So when you have a scene, players often think they need to create their thing out of thin air, but what's really important is reacting to what's happening. So the first thing you can react to is really using the game events, what's happening. Countless of times I've created a cool scenario, someone dies or there's a big reveal, and players are finding it really cool, and they're even thinking of how their character feels about it, but they need to express it, they need to react.
Exactly. React, just jump in, and this kind of goes into the next tip related to reacting, and it's reacting to your own emotions. Embracing your own emotions. Every day at work, in life, as a person in society, we're taught to cut those short to be a functional person in society.
And it's okay.
To a certain extent.
Well, yeah.
But in a role-playing game, when you have everyone's permission to go full tilt in your emotions, use them, embrace them, and if you're having a frustrating day because you had a really crummy day at work and something frustrating happened in game, go. Let that character bleed happen. Let the frustration be vented through your player character. It can create a fun moment.
And keep in mind the caveat we put at the beginning about the discussion first, right? Then the other thing I really like in terms of reacting is to make sure you're really driving the story by creating the moments you want to see. So what I think about is as a player, you should act in a way that you create a story as if you're reading a book that you would actually want to read. So if something's about to happen, maybe a lot of people try to optimize and try to go in survival mode and disengage the situation. It's about taking risk and really creating those moments.
Yeah, and I mean, again, these are tricks and tips for your consideration. So if your fun is having a tactical approach to a situation, that's okay. But we're just saying, consider that you could create a much more interesting and engaging story if you go for something more dramatic instead of optimized.
For instance, in a game we've played, there was a scenario where one of the players gave themselves to the guards to go on trial to be able to prove his point and to prove his innocence. So instead of hiding in the shadows, it would have created a different story. He committed to do a risky move where if it didn't go his way, he would be executed. Yeah. But then, isn't that more interesting though?
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things.
Great. So that's the first 3.
The fourth tip enters into a new grouping, and this is expressing your inner dialogues. A lot of the time as a character or as a person playing a character in a role-playing game, you might think, oh, how does my character feel or think about a certain situation? But then your conversation ends there. Nobody else at the table knows. Well, let it out. Let everybody at the table know how you're feeling. And the first way to do that is not to keep secrets.
And that's really hard, because when you create a character, often there's like something in the backstory. There's a mysterious brother, or
an affiliation to a dark, evil, sinister master or something like that. But you know what? Something I've learned is that if you give up those secrets to a trusted party member, you develop a relationship with that party member and you take it further. Someone once said, and I forget who it was, but a secret never told in your backstory might as well not even exist.
Yeah, it might fuel how you play your character, but if it's not, like, it's going to get so much more value if you bring it out and express it to the other players at the table. So it's really about being okay, showing your hand, and be confident that when doing so, you will create new opportunities to create more secrets or more scenes or more bonds. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be better, and I really urge you to try it.
The next one, the fifth strategy that you can employ, is to embrace your uncertainties. If you, as a player character, or as a player playing a player character, you get my point, are unsure about a situation, that's okay. Approach another player character and tell them flat out, ooh, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, it's okay not to know. Sometimes we feel like we need to know and to have a really to have a picture that allows us to always act in a way that makes sense with that picture. Humans don't work that way. Humans are full of contradiction, right? So just commit, and that really bleeds into our the sixth one is take a stance. Mm-hmm. So make sure you have opinions and commit to it. That's going to create even more opportunities.
Yeah, in the long video, we have a pretty fun, silly example of people kind of finding a way into a castle, maybe considering killing a guard to get in. Well, if everybody on the team is like, I don't know, killing a guard, maybe, whatever, let's just see what happens, that's not very interesting. But if one person is fervently for it and one person is fervently against it, and you put those two together in a conversation, you can have a fun, dramatic moment exploring why those characters have those opinions. And like Chris said, it's okay not to know. You can lean into it, or you could, pretend like you don't want to talk about it and then think about it later. Something we talked briefly about, and maybe it's a little bit too complicated to get into right here, but it's okay to seed these kinds of opinions as a character.
So we're running a bit long for our short version of the discussion. So we're going to cut it here and have the other 6 in the next week's video.
Yeah, so thanks for watching. If you guys like this video, we encourage you to click the like button, to subscribe to our channel, and to add some comments down below. If you have other strategies or you want to talk about the strategies that we talked about in this video, I encourage you to do so.
And maybe I will take a little moment to say hi to new subscribers, because we've been having new subscribers and people on podcasts, so we really appreciate you being here and looking forward to continuing this discussion we're having.
Yeah, we love you guys. Thanks for being part of the family. If you wanted to reach out to us and ask us questions more directly, you can do so by contacting us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @role_play_chat.
And as usual, we also have an email, that's contactroleplaychat@gmail.com.
So thanks for tuning in. And I think that's all for today's episode, Chris.
That's all, Matt.
Let's call it a chat.